Hi everyone, welcome to DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here, checking in with a live episode, looking to let everybody know how I'm feeling in a tough week, personally, tough week for everybody connected with Nottingham, of course, where I live. It's probably as important as ever. Thursday Thoughts might be thought-provoking, but as ever, it's my thoughts, my opinions, my answers to the questions you posed me, and a chance for you guys to interact with the channel. Of course, before I get going, it'd be fantastic if you could hit that like button. That would really support what I'm trying to do here. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate that. If you've got any comments to make throughout, please add them on. Or if you're watching after the live episode, please do follow any of that social media, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. The DOdaily accounts, my personal accounts, or if you have more of an activity in a running persuasion, look up the DOrunning accounts. I'm happy to get involved through any of those. Of course, all I'm trying to do here is encourage good, positive mental health, well-being, and find ways to really make the most of what we've got. Like I said there, it's been a tricky week. So today's episode will be slightly shortened and slightly geared to my actual thoughts rather than some of the questions. I think with everything that's happened, if you watched the episode on Tuesday, that was really sort of honest and raw. A lot of DOdaily is my daily vlog. As I mentioned right at the start there, my thoughts, my opinions are just a way of trying to pass on the way I'm feeling to those that might be looking in and not quite feeling it, or somebody looking in for a little bit of inspiration here and there on how possibly to deal with things or to take one or two different ideas forward. And that's all Thursdays are about. That's all DOdaily is about throughout the week. So just looking to do it slightly different tonight, perhaps more out of respect. It has been a tough week in sort of opening up with feelings. I did that, of course, on Tuesday and spoke about what had happened here in the city. If anybody is unaware by now, 3 people lost their lives to somebody who went on a bit of a rampage and stabbed and ran over people. And it's really impacted everything that's happening in reality. It's been a strange few days for me. I'm not going to say too much about that actually, because it does actually crop up in the first question. I did expect a lot of people to ask that question about how I'm feeling. So that is actually question number 1. So like I say, that's what Thursdays are about, a chance to get involved. And if you are feeling it, to get in touch. You know, I always talk about people getting in touch if their mental health is not quite where it should be. The first steps are communication, you know, reaching out. People like myself want and encourage people to talk to them when they feel the need to. And in all the adversity of any situation, you know, it's the best thing anybody can do. It makes me feel what I do is worthwhile. And again, this allows me to sort of pour out the other way, you know, and that's definitely what Tuesday was about. I was feeling it. I was on my own. I was feeling the pain. Not quite like some. I'm not trying to revel in misery. You know, this channel's all about positivity. It's all about taking things forward and finding a way to get through it. And again, we'll have periods in this episode, in future episodes, where that's what it's all about. But at a time like this, when things are really tough and we are struggling a little bit as a community, it's important to kind of understand that grieving process as well, isn't it? Whilst we're not doing that personally, like some families, you know, some parents, some brothers, some sisters, you know, it's a grieving period for the loss of life, you know, and the importance of life at times. And I've, like I say, I've really felt it this week, probably more than I thought I would. Initially here in the news, you know, it really rocked me back. I spent a lot of time on Tuesday on my own. What will say, sorry, I'm not sure I said this before. Anybody who watched Tuesday's episode, I really do appreciate the comments and the support and the people who've sent me messages on the back of that. There's been lots of that. And I did question myself, I did think, is it in bad taste? But I do come on and talk about what's happening around me every day. I didn't just start on Tuesday, I didn't just start in a bad situation. Quite often I talk about the positive stuff, but it just kind of made me feel a little bit better in the fact that people did appreciate it and people understood why I did it. So that was important to me, and it helped me a little bit because I was feeling it. I was a little bit alone. Kay was away, and that doesn't normally bother me. Of course, I love spending my time with Kay. I love our little family with the dog and the things we do. But in times like that, it just really, really hits us, and it reminded me of a period when I was kind of alone. And anybody who's watched this for a long time knows this was born out of a frustrating period. So it was really, it's been a strange one. Yesterday, getting back to the running club, I put a message in a WhatsApp group. It was so important for me to have some positive interaction after spending that time on my own. I put it out to the guys in the running club. They probably thought it was getting to me more than it should. By talking the way I am, people might be looking in thinking it's getting to me more than it should, or it's getting to me too much. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not making me it's not affecting my mental health. It's affecting my mood, my sadness, and my outlook at the moment. But that's just because I'm in touch with the things I say, doing what I do here. I have to be. And sometimes, when things like this happen, those feelings are right on the surface. So hopefully people really do understand. But getting to this question, and I've touched on it sort of already, how are you feeling after Tuesday's events? It's, like I say, it's been a strange one. The running club really helped, just being around people, just being around a group I set up, which attracts people who probably don't just come for the running, probably needed it from the outset, if not as things progress, as they get involved, as they make new friends. People who probably needed it for themselves as well, who needed a bit of a upturning fortune. Not upturning fortunes is the wrong word, but probably a bit of a lift. I openly admit I needed that lift. It was all part of starting the running club, encouraging people, encouraging activity, getting to the point where I talk about my feelings now, to try and stay on top of things. So I'm feeling okay, but I think around the running club, we've spent a bit of time with friends afterwards. It was really important to talk about things, and again, not to revel in it, not to dwell in what's happening with others, or sort of let their grief sort of rub off on us, and be negative about something and wallow for the sake of it, but more just because it does affect us. When something so big happens, I'm encouraging it all the time. We need to talk it through. We need to make sense of it. And it's important that we come together as a community. That's what the running group is. But right now in Nottingham, community is absolutely everything to this city, because to some degree, it feels like it's all we've got. We've lost people who resided here, people who come to stay, university students. We've lost a chap who lived all his life here. And you might notice, I don't normally wear a Forest shirt for DOdaily, but I spoke a lot about the two young kids who lost their life on Tuesday, because that's pretty much all we knew at that stage. But there was a guy as well who was Nottingham born and bred, like myself, probably as passionate as I am about the city, who was a massive Forest fan. So in my small little way, and again, it is a small little way, I'm just showing that this is my little bit of paying my respects. Was thinking about going to the vigil in the city centre today. Got a late invite to do something else, and was a little bit torn, to be honest, between the two. But decided to go to this celebration of community heroes, and it was heroes within the Black community. So feel quite privileged to have gone along, and feeling really pleased that I did it. Because again, that community thing was really important. It reminded me that there are lots and lots and lots of good people, and it's important to remember that at times like this. It's really, really important. I without sounding self-indulgent or trying to promote what I do too much, I know I tried to pay it forward. I tried to do a lot. You know, again, it's all part of what I do with the channel and the running clubs. But then when you see others, you know, it inspires you to keep going, to do that little bit more, to bring people together. And they're using in the city at the moment, Nottingham together. And I think doing something like that, as opposed to the visual, which, like I say, it was a tough decision which one I did. I don't think we can beat ourselves up for not being there, and go into something where it was quite uplifting. You know, it brought my spirits up. It brought me up to a level again where I think it's important to really push forward. It's going to be a tough time for everybody connected with Nottingham over the next few days, the next few weeks. You know, when the reality really sets in and news starts breaking of what really happened. So we have to sort of do what we can in the meantime. I talk about this every day. However much something affects us on the scale of things, of course, this is vast, this is grand, this is as big as this city's ever had to deal with, probably. So whether it's that or just something we have to deal with personally, you know, we have to find a way to keep positive, keep pushing through. And one thing I'm noticing, one thing that's really helping, and I tried to talk about this a lot, and again, I've got to gauge other people's reaction, how much they want to talk, how much they're comfortable in talking about these things. But I've noticed it's really somber and quiet around the city. But working in the settings I do, I kind of work around sort of patients and things like that in practices and GP practices and around health centres and things like that. I'm noticing everybody's that little bit friendlier. Everybody's taking that little bit more time to say hello, to ask how people are. And I think out of that adversity, again, it just shows the true nature of people. I mentioned on Tuesday that Nottingham, it can be quite grumpy at times, you know, quite straightforward, or at least come across that way. But what I'm finding at the moment is everyone's kind of taking that little bit of time. I had a massive issue post-COVID, how everybody seemed to forget what happened before and forget about community a little bit. We'd all got almost clogged up and got comfortable in our own environments. And as somebody who pushes for running groups and encouraging people and getting people together, you know, that was quite hard for me to take. It's been quite hard for me to deal with. In all honesty, the running group I do has been a little bit of a battle since, and my thoughts of how we take that forward have been all over the place at times. But what I've noticed in the last couple of days, you know, I live in a quite a bustling area with lots of bars around the river and Trent Bridge. There's lots happening. I've just noticed lots of people are out. Of course, the weather's fantastic. The weather tends to bring people out into bars and things like that. But there's lots of people out, and it's got this kind of quiet hush over things. But people are talking, people are communicating in what seems to me a mature and how can I say, like, sort of mature and realistic way. Sometimes when we're out, we're loud, we're brash, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're racing around at 100 miles an hour. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like people are really enjoying each other's company, and that's fantastic to see. And like I say, seeing people, whether it's at work or in the street, just taking that little bit of time to say hello, to chat, you know, that's how we get back to where we need to be, isn't it? By doing normal things. So going to the running club last night, you know, doing what I do there, going to this event tonight, and again seeing other people achieving, you know, that's brilliant, because that's all I ever really want to see anyway. And that's all I'm trying to do here, is help people to a better place. So doing those normal things have made me feel much better about it. But again, I can't help but feel the pain. You know, it has got to me, like, quite considerably. But again, I'll reiterate at that point that I don't want to make it as if it's affecting me, because it's affecting everybody in reality. And I think if it doesn't affect people, then they're a little bit sort of unaware, I guess, of what the reality of the problems are. So it's about being positive, pushing forward, using all the adversity, you know, the strength that the parents and the families of the victims have shown, you know, seeing them on the television. It's absolutely incredible, that the amount of strength they put into it, and telling and encouraging people to enjoy each other, and these things. One of the dads says that, and that's what we have to do, isn't it? Because life is awful at times, and the only way we can take it forward is by being positive and doing the things that make us happy and the things that we enjoy. And of course, I've mentioned a couple of those things that have put a smile on my face again, and just made things that little bit better as the week progresses. I'm sure in time things will improve for everybody, but right now it's a case of just pushing on, doing what we need to do, being happy when you are happy, not feeling guilty about that, not feeling guilty about doing anything what you would normally do, because unfortunately, whilst those families are in a difficult position, for the rest of us, life does go on, and we have to find a way to really deal with things. So I think that's probably enough said about all that now. Like I say, I still can't get certain thoughts and images and these people who lost their lives out of my head, and once again, just a small token of respect to the chap who lived in the city, and probably, like I said before, enjoyed it as much as the rest of us. It is a fantastic place. It's a place that's unassuming and generally happy, despite that exterior hard face. So we'll crack on and we'll get through it. Hopefully all that makes sense. Like I said, there's a few people that posted that question. Moving on to question 2. If you've got anything to add about the way you're feeling, like I say, anything you want to sort of come back to me on, I'll pop that up now, but after that question, please email des@dorunning.org.uk. Somebody emails me every week. In reality, I talk to so many people about the way they're feeling. I'm not qualified. I'm not going to get technical on you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Whilst I pass on some thoughts on here, what I can be is a sounding board, somebody who's going to listen, and that's the most important thing sometimes, isn't it? Listening, whether you're listening to someone else's problems or you're listening for yourself. We're all a little bit guilty sometimes of not taking information on board, but of course, doing a channel, whilst it's small, it's important for me to keep doing what I feel I need to do. So do get in touch if you've got anything to talk about. I'm happy to discuss it, whether it's on that email or through those social media links scrolling across the bottom. Question 2. Today marks halfway through June. How are you going with your targets? This has come from Leah. This is a more sort of traditional Thursday Thoughts question, isn't it? Whether it's running or some of the things I set myself through, some personal coaching here, almost like boot camp coaching. I do with a couple of guys, who sort of sign up to it each month, want to get a bit more from their running, want to get a bit more from their life. We set targets. Again, if you are local to Nottingham and you're interested in that kind of thing, really, really cheap, really, really competitive in that sense. But I put them through the paces. I make them work hard, but I do it for myself as well. And what we do, we have 5 targets each month. One of mine is not drinking. I'm trying to lose a bit of weight. Been trying for a few months. Of course, the injuries are setting again and struggling to be consistent. So that's not helping weight loss. So one of the things was the drinking. Happy to report, halfway through the month, and I'm there on that one at the moment. Really sort of going strong with it. Really feeling like I'm going to get through this one. I'm not even finding it that tough, despite the weather, despite the tricky situations that have happened. It'd be easy sometimes, wouldn't it, to reach for a drink, but without sounding like I've got a problem, because there most definitely isn't. Drink is not the answer, is it? Ultimately, it's doing the right things and trying to be consistent with that. So there's that. Trying to drink a lot more water as well. I'm a little bit guilty. I let myself dehydrate, for all the things I do. So managing to get a bit more of that. Running is not quite working as it should be. I'm getting there. I'm doing a couple of runs. The hamstring's kind of holding out. The foot's hurting a little bit after a run, but I'm not in too much pain. So getting a few runs in, but just being really, really cautious with it again. Trying not to run back to back, just to make sure I don't do too much. So again, it's all this work in progress. What I will say with everything I've said in the last few days on this episode, on the episode on Tuesday, it'd be so easy for what's happened just to throw it all up in the air, wouldn't it? You know, and again, when things happen, they kind of knock us off track, and it becomes an excuse. It becomes easy to sort of throw in the towel. But I think from such bad situations, you have to find that real determination and strength to make sure you're living life to the full. And that's what I'm trying to do now. It's almost given me a renewed push again, and I'm only digging really, really deep for a positive here. I'm not using the situation to say, oh, look what I've done. You know, I'm just really digging deep for a positive and a way forward from it. So again, it's given me that little bit of incentive. It's made me thoughtful and think, wow, I've got to do this. Been watching more YouTube videos of how I could improve and what not drinking does for you and how to be more consistent with my running and all these sort of videos, a bit like what I'm doing here, you know, where I can listen to and pick up some information. So yeah, I'm going all right with them. I'm not mastering all of them. Again, trying to be consistent with DOdaily. Probably, if anything, because of what's happened, that's affected me this week. Monday, I had 1 or 2 sort of discussions and a late night, and tonight with my plans, I'm a little bit late coming on. And yesterday, I just felt I needed a bit of a time out, you know, from being so candid and open about the way I'm feeling, just to make it so I wasn't going over the top on the situation and almost using it to my benefit, just taking that sort of step back with it. But again, everything's got to move forward, so I'm hoping to be more consistent with DOdaily and sort of pick those up. And again, it's just about testing yourself, isn't it? You know, sometimes testing yourself when things are tough. When the going gets tough, they say the tough get going. And I guess we can all sort of find some inspiration from that, you know, to make it work for us and make sure that we're doing whatever we can to be happy and enjoy every single day we've got. If we've learned anything this week, it's that nothing is ever guaranteed, isn't it? And I will just say one thing on that, you know, because it just popped into my mind. Somebody made a comment to me yesterday about what had happened in Nottingham and how life can be taken away from you, and sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it kind of made me a little bit angry. You know I'm going back to what I was talking about, and I said I'd move forward, but it kind of made me angry because I thought those people weren't in the wrong place at the wrong time. They was in exactly the right place at the right time because they were doing what they needed to do. You know, and I think in some ways that kind of justifies that they was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They must have been doing something wrong. Absolutely not. They were just going about their lives, you know, enjoying themselves or living it the way they had to be, and it was cruelly taken away from them. So again, we would never know, they would never know that was coming. You know, they couldn't have predicted a time. So it just sort of reinforces that point that we have to live it to our absolute fullest and with a smile on our face, you know, because you never know. Thanks for that question, Leah. You know, I'll keep working at them. I'll keep pushing on and be checking in future weeks and talking about targets and goals and where I'm pushing on to next and working it out as we go along. And question 3, did you enjoy Wales? Of course, last weekend I went to Wales. Friday's episode was from coming down the back of Pen y Fan, the highest peak in South Wales. Do check that one out. Some absolutely stunning views. An absolutely amazing experience that was, walking up there. A little bit impromptu. You know, we decided we were going late, and we made some plans then to fit around a wedding we'd been invited to, and it just really panned out nicely, and it's such an amazing experience of doing not very much. I said this to somebody at the running club last night when they said, "Did you enjoy Wales?" I said, "Oh, we spent a lot of time doing not very much," and they said, "You did so much." It was kind of a lot of doing not very much because yes, we went for a walk and that was pretty epic going up the hill, but then we just sort of went to see a friend very briefly, another short walk, went for some food and a non-alcoholic drink at the pub, and then we sort of went back to the place we were staying. We got up and went to a park run at the seaside. Nothing was sort of too long or prolonged. It was just little things we were doing, enjoying it. Do you know, but I took so much from that, took so much from it. We went to a park on Saturday, Porthcawl Park, one by the sea. Even that wasn't flat. If you're looking for flat running, by the way, don't go to South Wales. And with all those hills in my legs from Friday, another part one with a hill in along the beach, which you would expect to be flat, was really tough. But it was really enjoyable. The sun was out, lots of cafes. And that had got me thinking, about the way I want to sort of grow old and graceful and do things, and perhaps one day, choose the easy life of living by the seaside. And I wasn't thinking it too seriously, but it was one of those things. And then coming into the week and what's happened, I'm just so glad I had that. I wouldn't have wanted to be coming off a particularly bad situation, feeling it the way I am, watching other people suffer, that's not easy either, is it? So I'm glad I had a nice experience, and I was in a positive enough frame of mind going into what had happened. And I'm just so pleased that we went away and we took it at our own pace. Like I say, did lots of things, but nothing that really stretched us or pushed us out too much out of comfort zone, apart from that hill. But things that we just got a chance to sit and talk to friends, laugh, joke, and then take it easy going down there in the car, take it easy coming back. All these things that just make for a nice weekend break. And that's what we did. I had an extra day off on Monday. So again, that was nice. And then, of course, we all woke up to the news on Tuesday. So it was tough in that sense. But again, in this thoughtful, because that's where I'm at, for all the sadness and the feeling about the place, I think myself, it's more thought-provoking, of, because I do what I do, of how I kind of have to deal with these things and talk about these things and deal with myself. So I think having had all that, it was fantastic. So again, the importance of travel and taking a break, I can't advocate that enough. I started my new job towards the end of last year. It's been extremely busy for one reason or another, and I've managed to sort of get through it. I managed to get through to this point, but not had much annual leave. So taking that break was all part of understanding that's where I was. I needed a break. I needed to push on and sort of enjoy life a bit as well. Not that I love the job. It's taxing at times. It's hard work, and hopefully it'll ease up. But it was just one of those things. So pleased I did it for that. Pleased I did all those things, and pleased I did it because of what come next. And that's a great example, isn't it, of why we have to enjoy these things. How many times have those regulars to do daily heard me say that sometimes, things change as quick as they change for the better or worse as quick as they change for better or worse. When we're going along on a wave of enthusiasm and enjoying things and loving life, something knocks us off our perch and we can't believe it. There's never a good time, because when that happens, it's tough. But it happens the other way as well. When things are really, really crappy, when things aren't really working out, we can sort of find something. I always refer back to the day I put my trainers on and went for a run, But there was little things along the way that helped. It becomes a snowball effect, and you finally get to this place you want to be. I remember, and this situation, all this stuff I've spoken about today, kind of relates into that, because I remember sort of being told that I might be poorly, really seriously poorly, and I realised that I wasn't invincible. And that was such an eye-opening moment. Again, I'm always trying to express this on here. After everything that's gone off, again, I think a lot of people are understanding it a lot more, and that's what's sort of bringing the mood to this sort of reflective and sad level within Nottingham. But it was realising that I wasn't invincible that really helped me push forward, really helped me get to another point. And then almost you go to another level when you realise the people you love and care for aren't invincible either, and you've got to make the most of the time with them, and you've got to have good relationships, and you've got to be positive, and if there is people that are not positive and they're not going to change, you kind of have to sort of just go your separate ways. It don't need to be brutal, it doesn't need to be nasty, but you've got to create that positive environment. That realization of thinking I was poorly, then getting the all clear, picking up running and all these little things that ticked on after it really gave me a chance. So when I look at the things I do now and stack everything up, realize when I need a holiday, realize what a situation that doesn't affect me directly, but affects everybody around me, realize how that affects me and how I can sort of use my thoughts and try and say a few words here and there to help others, and how much that helps me as well. It's all important in getting to where we want to be. So hopefully, I've kind of flitted in between questions and said one or two things there. Hopefully it's made sense, guys. I really, really appreciate those that have been watching. It's important to me. It's important for me to do this channel. Got some comments coming in. Really pleased a few people are watching. Kay says, already planning the next trip to Wales. I think, like myself, Kay kind of fell in love with it a little bit. We quite often do that, don't we, when we go on holiday? And we're guilty of it wherever we go, to be honest. We just love that travelling side, fresh air and things like that. So it's really important to us. And then if she's feeling the same, we're on. So definitely looking forward to go back. Peter says, evening, Des. Evening, Peter. Thanks for watching. Really, really appreciate you coming on. Always appreciate the Forest fans. Of course, I get big support from those. Eve says, hello, Des. Hope you're well. I'm drawing a few new pictures, which I hope will cheer Forest fans after what happened on Tuesday. Of course, Eve. And of course, it's important just to keep doing the things we love. And Eve does drawing. I do running. I do talking. I do all sorts of running clubs, because that's what gets us on. So if you are feeling it, Eve, make sure you keep drawing and you keep doing all those fantastic pictures you do of other people. Kay says, comment there, life is very short. And there is one other question there, which I'll come back to shortly. Take a bit of the heat out of everything that's been said. Like I say, before I come to that question, Peter's actually popped one in there, cheeky one about football, which is a great question, to be honest. I thought somebody might ask it today. Please do email des@dorunning.org.uk if you've got anything to talk about. If you've got anything to ask me, you want my opinion on anything, you just want a different slant on it. I don't claim to get it right all the time. You might come back and say I'm talking absolute nonsense. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to support and encourage where I can and stay on top of my own feelings, stay on top of where I'm at, create that communication. I'm a good listener. I wouldn't say I'm a good talker, but I'm prepared to talk. I'm open and honest and candid about the way I'm feeling. So if anybody needs that kind of conversation, then I'm always here. And that's the email address. Like I say, all that social media is there. Please do get in touch through any of the videos throughout the week. You can comment. Please do like this episode. That's massively important. I tried not to sort of ram it down people's throat throughout, and please subscribe. Try not to do that because, again, just the tone and what's happening. This is not the most important thing going off right now. But getting back to that question, just a quick comment there. Kay says, looking forward to seeing the pictures, Eve. They always make me smile. Absolutely. We all love one of Eve's pictures. So do crack on with those, Eves. Question there from Peter. I've got the Forest shirt on. Like I say, a lot of the people who do subscribe to this channel and do watch happen to be Forest fans. I do football content elsewhere. Probably much more, I can articulate that much more than I can the things I talk about. But I'm trying, and that's all I'm doing at the end of the day, because that's the kind of person I want to be, and that's the fact of the matter. But Peter says, what do you think of the fixtures for the first few games? Tough, aren't they, Peter? Those away games for a team that won one game all last season to go to Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City in the first 6 games. Yeah, they're really, really tough. But we wanted to stay in the Premier League. We was all so excited about not getting relegated. It's the games we're going to have to play, isn't it? We have got a couple of promoted teams at home, but we've only got 2 of the first 6 games at home in the first. So said that all wrong, haven't I? We've only got 2 of 6 games at home, so that's a tough start regardless, especially with that away form I mentioned. But against those teams, it's going to be really tough. How level were you now, Peter? I'd take 6 points from those first 6 games, because kind of working on that basis last year, but Forest almost kept up with a point a game all season. When they got going, it might be a tough start this time and they might be playing catch up again. But once they got going, they kept up with that point a game, and that keeps you in the Premier League, And after the way it finished, it was tough at times. There was lots of hysteria and lots of negativity and toxicity. But the way it ended, it was all good fun. It was brilliant. We enjoyed what happened. Bizarrely, we go to Arsenal again, who actually we beat to stay in the Premier League. I'm sure that's going to make it a little bit harder as well. So, it's a tough start. But again, football is something I really, really look forward to. The event I went to this evening was kind of based around football, and probably invited because of some of the football content I've done over time. So, again, it's all good to be sort of excited about that again and looking forward to it. Already making plans of where I'm going, which park runs I'm doing on the away games, if I get tickets, waiting for that all to come out. So really, really excited about that. I think when Peter says yes, they are, it's when I said it was tough. He also said that he loves Eve's pictures, because we all do. And Kay says we've got to play them all at some point, get some of the tough ones out of the way. Exactly. If we kick on again like we did last season, we won't have to go to Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City, because they'll be out of the way and done and dusted. A light way to finish there, again, football is what I really, really love, And again, just one sort of quick reminder of the guy from Nottingham who lost his life in the tragedy this week. It's a great place to live all your life. Believe me, I've been here and I feel like I've done it, but I don't want it to end in that kind of circumstance either. So rest in peace to him and the other 2 guys. Hopefully everybody's feeling a lot better, a lot more positive and excited about what they've got to do next. And that's what it's all about. I'm hoping, as much as anything, that I'm on top form for Wake Up to Walk, getting out, being really positive. Again, Friday's Wake Up to Walk episode, it's about reflection to some degree, seeing, but not too much, because that was the message last week, seeing how we can take it forward, how we can be really, really positive and make the most of another weekend. After last weekend, after what's happened, I think a really, really nice weekend of doing nice things again. We've got a couple of plans. It's Father's Day, of course. And again, that's another reminder of special people and important people around us. So it's important to sort of make the most of people as well. I'll be talking about all those things. Looking forward to the weekend, expressing why it's important to get up so early, get those endorphins flowing. Tomorrow, that'll be on tomorrow evening. I'll be out early or at some point walking around. It won't be Penny Fan, but it'll be somewhere where I'm getting some fresh air and doing what I enjoy. Until then, guys, hopefully you get what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm happy to receive any comments, good, bad, indifferent. Believe me, I get lots of flack as well. It's absolutely fine. Do drop us a comment, drop us a like, do subscribe. Just doing it.